Job redesign everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Okay, that doesn't sound right. The buzzword these days for both employers and employees, and it's not upskilling and reskilling. Apparently, that's what we've been told. But in case you're confused, a one-stop center to help enterprises build their job redesign capabilities and transform their workforce was launched in November by WSG in collaboration with the Institute for Human Resource Professionals, or IHRP. For more insights, we're joined today by the CEO of the IHRP, Aslam Sardar, to figure out how IHRP will run the joint and what's in it for everyone. Welcome to Hired, a podcast series by the Business Times in collaboration with WSG. Aslam, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Let's first talk about getting it from the HR perspective. What job redesign is to you? What does it mean?
At the heart of it, job redesign is really about the business and also about the community. And what we want to do is we want to create better jobs and better wages. And I think it really depends on the spectrum that we are looking at. Job redesign at a more transformative level looks at enterprise and sector. We're really looking at remodeling the business and to adapt to the changing business environment. But I think if you look at it at a smaller scope, there's actually opportunities to look at how can I change a particular process, maybe digitalize a particular process so that I can gain productivity gains out of it. And technology should be one way to do it. But beyond technology, there's also processes that one should look at.
Streamlining them, so to speak, right?
Exactly.
So that you don't have to do 5 steps to get this one job done. You just go through maybe 1 or 2. And that would be from an individual's level, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And I think it's also highly contextual, right? It also depends on the organization, the industry, the level of disruptions they are facing, and the people that you're dealing with, the type of mindsets they have. So you're not rushing through things, but you're thinking about job redesign in a very deliberate way.
Would you say then job redesign would be more challenging for some sectors than others? I mean, you talk about disruptions, and you also mentioned tech is one you've probably considered. Sectors are affected by tech differently. So what are some of the trends you're going to be seeing for different sectors?
Yeah. So I think different sectors, they evolve and they develop and they react to the disruptions in different ways. There are sectors that are very labor intensive. So if you take manufacturing, for example, their primary concern, and I think their focus should be about how do I automate as much as possible so that I can use more computers, more technology, more robotics, as opposed to using more manpower. And then there are also sectors like the professional services, HR, for example. How can you use technology to augment the work that you do? So it's not about replacing you, but it's about augmenting the work you do. For example, shortlisting of CVs, identifying and screening who you should be inviting for a job interview for a particular role. I think some of these you can actually use AI or use technology to help you.
Instead of trawling through how many hundreds and thousands of resumes, right?
Exactly.
These brand spanking new digs we were talking about, but it looks great with a well-stocked pantry and all that. How else has IHRP been supporting job redesign to address specific workforce challenges?
Firstly, Workforce Singapore, in collaboration with IHRP, we've recently launched the Job Redesign Center of Excellence. And that Center of Excellence serves as a one-stop venue where companies can come and obtain resources about job redesign and get involved in this whole journey of transformation that they may be embarking on. So I'll give you an example. Areas that we actually provide resources and support include things like playbooks on how you can transform particular roles. Examples would be for HR, for example. So we do intend to look at producing playbooks for the HR sector, the retail sector are examples, including wholesale sectors. Then the other thing is workshops. You have access to resources and you know what you want to do. How do you actually go about it? What are the skills and capabilities you need to have to job redesign in your organizations? And I think that's where workshops come in. And then last but not least, really, we want to encourage more people to do it. So this is where advocacy comes in. Here, what we want to do is we want to work with the 21 trade associations and chambers that have come together to pledge to support the Job Redesign Center of Excellence. We want to work with them Actually, these 21 trade associations, they represent 5 industry transformation maps that have been rolled out, and they include sectors like the built environment, lifestyle, modern services, connectivity, manufacturing, and trade. And finally, what we have done in IHRP is we have put together an expert panel. And our expert panel, really the industry, the tripartite organizations, that includes ministry, the unions, the employers union, HR professionals, HR leaders themselves, academics, and even the legal fraternity, all coming together to provide context, advice, and guidance, and also to be role models for others.
Still to come, success stories. We love those. More with the CEO of the Institute for Human Resource Professionals, Aslam Sardar, in a moment. We're speaking with the CEO of the Institute for Human Resource Professionals, or IHRP, Aslam Sardar. Aslam, how does IHRP view the role of HR professionals when it comes to driving job redesign initiatives? You said contextual earlier. And what are some of the key aspects they should be looking at?
First of all, I think HR and the HR profession plays a strategic role here, because job redesign is not just about changing jobs or, removing inefficiency. It's really about productivity gains. How do we help companies gain productivity? How do we create more valued jobs so that workers can be uplifted? And I think because HR is at the intersection of the employers and the workers, so we play a very critical and strategic role. One thing that HR truly adds value is that they go beyond just the technical aspect of job redesign. I mean, it's not just about putting in a technology or changing processes. It's about how do you bring the people along with you as well. And this is where HR plays a very unique role. Think about it. If I job redesign or put in place a new technology, I actually need to train them, persuade them, inform them. So there's a lot of change management and training involved. And I think the best people who can be involved in this is the HR profession.
Let's talk about then how employers can adopt job redesign strategies to better align with their specific industry needs and organizational goals, how they can go about bringing their people with them, like you say.
That's a very good question. Employers should really look at job redesign as a strategic tool to help them increase productivity and gain business results, like, raising revenues. So perhaps examples might help.
Examples meaning success stories.
Success stories.
Like them.
So Popeye Singapore, what they did was they implemented cross-training deployment crew program. And this program is done actually by the Leadership and Development Center in the organization. What they did was they redesigned the jobs, activities, and tasks. They cross-train the employees in different aspects of the jobs. So the outcome really is that the employees now can be rotated between different tasks, pick up new skills along the way. Fei Xiong, another company, adopted digital solutions to remove the manual HR processes. And this actually increased their efficiency by 40%. They also centralized processes like the finance process. And through the centralization, actually gave them very good data insights of their organization. And this helped them in better decision making. The employees can focus on more higher value tasks. Another good example is ST Logistics. They have automated their processes, redesigned the job scope of their employees, and embraced the career conversion program, where staff learned how to use new technologies to leverage on the data that they had, giving them insights and then reducing also a lot of labor-intensive work. ST Logistics went further. They paid their staff a monthly allowance of up to 6% of the salary when they completed all these training programs to help them elevate their skills. And when you look at it from this perspective, they are really thinking about job redesign in a holistic way. If organizations think of job redesign not just from an automation or technology-driven way, but also include ways to help the employees by transferring some of the gains they get from productivity to the employees, this is when you make job redesign a truly meaningful endeavor in your organization.
Aslam, would you have advice for enterprises as they navigate job redesign?
Yes, at the starting point for any job redesign must be really about the business. How are we helping the organization raise productivity, improve their business outcomes. From that as the starting point, the next thing organizations should look at is, how does this help the worker or the employee? Are we raising the job value of the employee as we progress through? And then last but not least, I want to encourage companies to see how they can think of it more holistically. As you get the productivity gains, the benefits, the business benefits, and the profits that you earn, can these also be shared with the workers so that at the end of the day, you are looking at job redesign in a more holistic way?
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us today, Aslam.
Thank you.
Aslam Sardar is the CEO of the IHRP. This has been hired by BT Podcasts, and you can find out more about job redesign and business transformation at Workforce Singapore's website.